Welcome to Mathematical Magic. Today's topic is standard deviation. Standard deviation is the average distant value or observations are from the mean. Notice I said average. Not all the observations are going to be the same distance from the mean. This is the equation for standard deviation. Within the square root is your equation for your variance, which is the squared version of your standard deviation. The sideways m in the numerator is the Greek symbol for sigma, and it means you total all the solutions to the expression in the parentheses next to it. The expression we use is called the squared deviation. To solve for your deviation, you take your observed value and subtract the mean from it. In the denominator of your variance, you have n minus 1, where n is the number of observations or values you have. Let's look at an example. Let's say that a Pokemon fan wanted to know how much the height of their Pokédoll varied from the mean height on average. So she measured each doll's height. Pikachu was 8 inches tall, Eevee was 10 inches, Lucario 12, Manaphy 5, and Piplup 15. While we are talking about heights, let me stop for a minute and mention that standard deviation can only be used for quantitative data, where possible data can have values that have decimals that go on and on and on. Standard deviation cannot be used for categorical data, which is also known as qualitative data. Anyways, back to the Pokemon doll example. For this example, we'll use a table for visual. First off, we need to find the mean height. Totaling all the heights up, we have a total height of 50 inches. The total height 50 divided by the number of values 5 equals 10, so our mean height is 10 inches. Now that we know our mean, we find our deviations. We subtract the mean from each doll's height. So for Manaphy, we do 5 minus 10 and get negative 5. Do the same for the other 4 dolls. Does anyone know what would happen if we didn't square the deviations? I know. Everything would be 0. Right. First off, your deviation sum would be 0. And if you look at the standard deviation equation without the square, you would notice that the sum of your deviation, which is 0, goes in the numerator and the denominator will be 5 minus 1. 0 divided by 4 is 0, and the square root of 0 is 0. That would mean that, on average, every Pokemon doll was at the mean height, which is not possible. 4 of the heights are bigger or smaller than the mean, so there has to be a difference. Also, sometimes the sum of the deviation would be negative, and you cannot get a real number if you square root a negative number. To fix this problem, we squared the deviations first so that we have a positive number. You total the squared deviations and get 58. Remember that the units are also square, so let's find our variance. 58 divided by open parentheses 5 minus 1 close parentheses is 14.5. But we can't stop here. The units are still inches squared, but because we are dealing with differences in heights, we need the units to be in inches. Therefore, we square root the variance to get our standard deviation. The square root of 14.5 is approximately 3.8079. That's a very abridged lesson on standard deviation, a key concept in statistics.